Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to the Automation Campaign, where we will be building on the foundations we built in the past few episodes to ensure a successful future for our company. In the past few episodes we rebuilt the company with the help of our Japanese owners to create some of the most powerful cars I think I've ever made, and some of the most beautiful as well. For a lineup of cars, this is genuinely one of the most beautiful lineups I think I've ever made. So I'm really happy with the way this is turning out. But yeah, I think what we're going to be doing in this episode is we're going to be working on improving what we have, facelifting the engines, maybe facelifting a couple cars, maybe even creating a new one depending on how things go. And yeah, we're just going to ensure that by the time we hit the year 2000, our company is going to look much better than it is already. So yeah, I'm really excited for the future of the company. Let's get right into it. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to facelift the engines, and yeah, I think this is going to turn out really exciting. I'm going to try and focus more on the efficiency of the engines this time around, but still keeping the power of the engines, so that by the time that this engine gets built into other cars, we're going to have a much better fuel economy, which is something that I've realized has been lacking on a lot of our models recently. So yeah, that's the main focus of this, so let's get into it. And so here we have it, the three revised engines, and honestly they've turned out amazing. We managed to squeeze out a bit more power out of the turbo and the eco variant, but fuel efficiency just in general has taken a massive leap forward. So let's have a look at the economy variant, which is the least powerful variant of the engines, and we managed to get 5 more horsepower out of it, but at the same time increasing with 2% fuel efficiency, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you take in consideration that this is basically the same engine as before, it's a 2% jump in efficiency is crazy, especially when you're already bordering a 25% fuel efficiency, especially for the time period as well, which is really crazy. The way I did it was, because we now have access to variable valve timing and variable valve lift, I've decided to implement those into all 3 of the engines. I've lowered the red line on the eco variant to 6,500 because 8,000 for an eco variant is a lot. It still retains that exciting push forwards from the engine. It just doesn't have that extra RPM. But yeah, I think I'm really happy with the way that this engine turned out. The power curve looks even better. We've got more low-end torque. We have more high-end power. It's just exactly what an engine of this specification should be. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the car up for, the engines up for engineering, and yeah, we'll start working on a more economy-focused, a more a more affordable variant of this engine, which we're going to put into cars that will be a bit cheaper than the ones we have already. So yeah, what we're going to have to do here though is, because other vehicles are still using the pre-facelift of this engine, we're going to have to extend the engineering time of the facelift, so this engine, this set of engines that we've just made. And what I'm going to target is for 1999 to be the year where this engine releases. So we'll have about 63 months in order to make this engine. So what we're going to do is we're going to increase automation, increase the optimization, increase reliability, actually that could work, and then let's just reduce some of the pressure on our workers, because we still want to learn something from this engine, and I mean, doing 100% work, you're barely learning anything from this engine. So yeah, this should work out quite nicely. 63 months pretty much to design and engineer this engine. So yeah, let's work on the factories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the automation, because this is, I believe, the small factory. No, this is the big one. So let's increase the automation and the tooling. Add the other two engines, of course. And, I mean, we'll reduce it a little bit, actually. So we'll do +10 on both. As for wages, I guess we'll just do 80% wages. I think that should be fine. The engines are getting cheaper to produce, and we're producing more, so that's a good sign. And yeah, let's complete this factory. We still have one more factory, don't forget. We still have the small factory to retool, so because we're going to need every single engine we can get. But this one we can really increase the tooling and the automation, so this is really exciting. So we can produce a lot more engines from this factory than we could previously, simply because the retooling won't cost as much as with the other factories. So we're going to be producing about 6,000 engines in this factory. I believe it was about 15,000 in the other. So yeah, for a production standpoint, we're producing quite a fair amount of engines. So let's have a look here. Let's complete the design. It's going to cost us about 280 million. We're not going to take a loan because we are definitely making enough money now to cover costs on this engine. And yeah, we're going to sign off. And now we're going to have to do something that hurts me quite a bit, but we're going to have to do it. And it is making making smaller engines with more fuel economy focused engines. And sadly, we're going to have to start it off with a 3-cylinder. I really didn't want to do this because we've made some amazing performance cars, but we can sort of make these on the side, ignore them, and then just let the people buy them and be happy with them. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Is we're going to make this engine, hopefully make it somewhat exciting. I mean, the whole point of this this takeover is to make exciting cars, and I think we're gonna have to try and figure out how to make an exciting car out of a 3-cylinder. So yeah, let's get to working on that and see what we can do. And so here we have it, the 3-cylinder engine, and this is a 1.5 litre, which I thought would be a good happy medium between the efficiency and power sort of line, if that makes sense. But yeah, we managed to get 95 horsepower out of it with nearly 150 Newton meters of torque. But the big thing about this engine is that it has a fuel economy of 27%, or near enough 27%. That is just an absurdly high number, especially for the time in which this engine was built, and comparing it to the 1.3 litre, which is the second variant of this engine, you can see that they both follow a very similar torque and power curve, just with the 1.3 litre having less. That's pretty much the only difference. But yeah, I think that, oh, I forgot to do the exhaust. Oh, this is going to, you know what, we'll keep exhaust at 0 for the time being, and we'll figure that out later. But yeah, that was, I'm very happy with the way this engine has come along, and we are going to put it into engineering, and we're going to see what sort of cars we can put this engine into in the future. So yeah, let's put it into engineering and we'll see what happens. So I'm expecting this to take a long time to actually engineer, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to target 2000, so we have 72 months to engineer this engine. And we're going to do a lot of reliability. We're going to optimize the process a little bit, automate the process a little bit, and then yeah, we're just going to make sure that that our company learns from the vehicle. So we have 72 months until 1999, so we can have another 3 months. So what we're going to do actually is we're going to increase reliability just a little bit more, and yeah, I think this is where I'm happy with this engine. We're not going to build any factories just yet. Because, I mean, should we? Yeah, let's build a factory actually. We want to build a very large factory. So we're going to take a huge plot. We're going to build a large 3 factory with an aluminium foundry. I forgot, this engine has is completely made out of aluminium. It doesn't have any cast iron in it whatsoever to save on the weight, which should help which should help with the fuel economy, because lighter engine, lighter car, sort of adds up like that in my mind at least. And yeah, so how long is it going to take to build this factory? 48 months. So we can afford to have a shift. It starts until 2.5 in 48 months. So we're going to do 70% work. We'll do 80% worker wage, and we'll increase quality. So yeah, 49 months. I don't mind that extra month. So that's good like that. We'll increase the automation a bit. This is going to be a very expensive factory, by the way, but I think we can definitely cover the costs with the vehicle that we have, with the vehicles that we have. So yeah, we're about to produce 30,000 of this engine, and we are going to think about building another one of these factories to build the 4-cylinder in, because once we start really ramping up production on our vehicles, we definitely need the engines to keep up with that. So yeah, we're going to complete the factory, and yeah, I mean, we're just going to sign off on this and see what happens, and hopefully this was a good idea. It's a $1.3 billion dollar project, but I think we can definitely do it, so we'll sign off on the project without a loan, and yeah, in 1975 we'll have access to this 3-cylinder, and everything should be good. And so, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to facelift the Crid. I think this is going to be the best option we have going for now. We're going to try and release it in 3 years' time, so for 1996. Then we'll have this vehicle running until the next engine comes, and by then we're going to have a replacement for this vehicle lined up. And yeah, I think that is going to be the best way to do it. So we have about 6 years. So we're going to release this vehicle for 1996. That means we have it in 1997, 96, 97, 98. So we have 3 years of this vehicle. And I think that's going to be the best way to do it. So we're going to facelift this vehicle. And then afterwards, we will start working on the replacement to this vehicle. And yeah, I think this is going to be the best way to do it. So let me do some tweaks to this car, and I'll be back with you guys shortly. And here it is, the facelift is done, and honestly it is just an evolution of what the car was before. I've had to change out the headlights for non-pop-ups, which is quite sad because of safety regulations. But yeah, I think it still works, and I put a little bumper, like a little bit of design in the bumpers in the front and the rear, and I think it is an evolution of the previous car, and I think it does look really, really good. I'm very happy with the way that this car has come out, so yeah, let me work on the other 2 cars, and I'll be back with you guys shortly. But yeah, as for the design of this facelifted variant, I didn't change it all too much from the original turbo variant. I put 2 nice exhaust tips down here, I have put a nice body kit on here, flared the arches a little bit, lowered it, put wider tyres on it. You know, just did the whole entire works of trying to make this car as awesome as possible. So yeah, let's put the cars up for sale, and we'll go into BeamNG Drive. Okay, so let's go put this car up for sale, and we're going to target a 30... I mean, how the car has just gone up for sale, so we'll target for a 1996 release. So 1993, so 3 years, so 39 months is what we're going to be targeting. And what we're going to do is we're going to increase reliability, increase the automation so we can make more cars, and yeah, I think do a little bit of optimization. And there you go. We now have, for 133 million, a new facelifted vehicle. And let's go into here, into the factory, and actually do the facelift. Now, I'm really excited to see what this car turns into. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a large one factory, so we can produce more vehicles. And yeah, I mean, it's saying that there's no engines right now, but that's just because we've facelifted the engine. So that's the reason why we don't see any engines right now. The actual factory rebuild time will take about 12 months, which is alright. We can live with that. So yeah, I think this works out quite fine. We can increase automation a little bit. And yeah, so let's complete the design and then see what the car might be making us in terms of profit. And it seems like I don't know where these numbers come from, but I did. Whoa. Why is it making so much money? Hold on a minute. I wanted to sell this more in the range of 12,000. So these two 12,000, and then this one I wanted to sell for about 16 to 18,000. So we'll do 16,000 for the time being. I feel like that is a lot of profit actually. 15 billion. I don't think I've ever seen a number that big, quite that big in a campaign save. So, ooh, okay, it's still at 15 billion. It's still making us a very good profit. But we're selling more cars, and the desirability is just staying there. So you know what? We're going to sign off as it is, and we're going to be happy with it. We're not going to take any more loans, and this is going to be the last big project we're going to do until we make some more money. So let's sign off on this project. And this vehicle should now be releasing for 1996, meaning we have 3 years to put the next car into production. So here we go, here it is. Actually, middle of 1995. Okay, I may have miscalculated something there. But yeah, this works out quite nicely, I think. So yeah, let's take it into BeamNG and give it a test drive. And here we have it, the essential model of the hatchback. And honestly, I think this turned out so nice in BeamNG. The lines just work, the grille looks great, the little bumper details that I put in beautifully transferred into the game. So yeah, this is the essential model, the small model, the baseline model, which still has 120 horsepower, mind you. It's not slow by any stretch of the imagination, and it's just I've decided to come to this test track because essentially this is a hot hatch, and hot hatches are made to be driven hard. So I want to see the difference between each hot hatch or each of the hatchbacks around this track and see where the differences lie in these cars. And I mean, I do still have the traction control enabled in this car, but this is once again supposed to be the entry-level model. It's not really. It's if you want to drive this car, you would probably buy the Advantage, or if you have the money, the Turbo. This is more of a everyday sort of car, the car you take to work every day, the car you basically just live day to day in. And I'm really happy with the outcome of this vehicle because it matches that criteria perfectly. So, I mean, you can still drive it hard. Like here, I'm going to do a full brake, and it makes the corner beautifully. It is, I mean, like I said, it is basically just the driver's dream, this car. And I absolutely love this car. Just from a design standpoint, I think this is beautifully proportioned with the curves and the edges, and I can't wait to see what this car evolves into in the future. And I missed the corner. But I mean, this isn't the sporty car. This is the entry-level jelly car. It's, yeah, just supposed to be the everyday car that an everyday person would buy. Yeah, let's go take the Advantage for a little spin. And here we have the Advantage model, which has 30 more horsepower, and I liken this more to a performance car than the entry-level Essential model, and I absolutely love it. It looks great. The wheels are just about too small, I think, but they do still work very, very nicely. And yeah, let's give this car a little drive and see what it's all about. That was a second gear launch. The intense wheel spin. But you can definitely tell this car has 30 more horsepower from the way that it accelerates. And the little pops and bangs it gives. You can tell this is a much faster car. That's another thing I absolutely love about this car, by the way. It's the engine. It's the cam profile allows for it to have some backfire once you let off the throttle. Like that. It's absolutely brilliant. It really does add to the experience of driving this car. I mean, it doesn't have the grippy tyres, it doesn't have the all-wheel drive or the limited slip differential that the Turbo does, But that's something you could definitely work on if you love working on cars. And I feel like this car would have a lot of aftermarket support if it did exist. And I mean, yeah, it's just the ultimate car. Well, not quite, the turbo is, but we'll get to that shortly. 190, can we hit 200 before we get down to the bottom here? Of course we can. Oh yes. This is such a nice car to drive. It's just, it's very predictable, I find, with this car. Even though with the short wheelbase you'd expect it to be quite unstable, it's a lot more stable than you think. And I have no idea how I did that, but it just works. I mean, yes, it has a lot of understeer, but that's the whole point of these sort of daily drivers. You want them to be understeering rather than oversteering. But it just works with this car. You can work with it, and once you know what you're doing, you can obviously tune that out of the car. And I've got to make this corner. Oh, oh, we've lost the wheel. Where's it gone? And here we have it, the ultimate driver's dream inside BeamNG, and honestly this car looks so good. I love the splitter on the front, I love the design on this, I love the side skirts, I love the way that it looks so low and wide. It's just, oh, it's just beautiful. So let's give this car a proper thrashing. The acceleration is just crazy. I absolutely love this car. The brakes and the tyres are just so good on this car as well. I managed to get this car to do over 1G of cornering from the tuning, and you can definitely tell the way that this car drives around corners is just so much more composed, so much more aggressive than the Advantage model. And I think that's what really makes this car stand out, especially with the all-wheel drive system. It just drives like an absolute dream. So let's see what this car could do in the short corners like this, in the small corners like this. Onto two wheels. I mean, I'm not the best driver, right? I will never be the best driver. And there are definitely going to be people who can get more out of this car than I can, but I'm having a lot of fun doing it, and the acceleration is just crazy. The extra 100 horsepower is really making themselves, showing themselves, especially considering the amount of downforce I managed to put on this vehicle. I think it has almost 200 kilos of downforce on the rear wing. So the fact that it's accelerated past that like that, it's just crazy. And I've missed the corner a little bit, but that's no worries. The car easily handles it. It is just an absolute dream to drive. The way that this car just is glued to the surface is just beyond me. And just stuff like that. Oh, and we get the wall again. We seem to be liking that wall today. But yeah, this car is just a road legal race car, I think. It's just, everything about it just screams performance, and you can definitely tell when driving it where that performance lies in this car. And it's just the amount of the balance between the grip, the power, the all-wheel drive system, the everything, the brakes, the way the suspension is handling everything. It's just all performance orientated, and you can definitely tell. Coming into this little corkscrew section again, braking at the 150 meter board, trying to clip the inside curb, clip the inside other curb, and experience some weird oversteer. I mean, this is just for fun. I am driving this car probably beyond its limits, but I feel like we really like this wall today, don't we? Oh, I just about missed it. This is just such a fun car to drive. It's just the power, like I keep saying, it's just the ultimate car. But yeah, I'm going to call it that. I absolutely adore this car, and it's been an absolute pleasure making it for you. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video as much as I did making it. Sorry, I'm just stunned by this car. Anyway, I'm going to wish you guys a lovely rest of your day. It's been a pleasure making this episode for you. I hope you have, once again, an amazing day. Bye-bye.